Merab shares thoughts following his win over Sean O'Malley on UFC 306. The Georgian proved his worth as a championship fighter, showcasing a dominant performance on the biggest stage of his career, comfortably claiming the division title from O'Malley. A fight that definitely had some unordinary moments in it, like Merab kissing Sean as a way of taunting him when he had him pressed against the cage on the mat, before walking away with seconds left in the round and getting punched from behind. Or how about him initiating a timeout as he didn't like when O'Malley's coach started yelling things at him in the beginning of the bout. Anyway, the contest turned out to be another strong Merab performance, with crushing pressure and chain wrestling getting the job done. Aside from a relatively weaker third round and getting hurt with a body shot in the fifth, Merab didn't let O'Malley be effective with his precision striking, slowly drowning him with the famous pace the new champion has. On the post-fight press conference, Merab reacted to becoming a champion and gave assessment of the fight.
I was ready for war, but when I see his power, I see his everything, and he wasn't coming. He was waiting for me, and how tricky he did against Aljo. I tried to do same. You know, like if you don't wanna come to me, I'm not gonna come. And so yeah, nothing surprised me actually. You know, I make him look normal. Of course, Tim's voice, it was very familiar because he was doing same thing to Aljo. There is the clip video on social media, everybody we saw that, and he was doing same thing, like he was doing very disrespectful way. Merab, you gotta go. He was talking shit on me, and I tell him stop it, and nobody was telling him to stop. He was just keep doing this, you know. And if you do same thing in basketball or soccer, they will do disqualification for you. But I guess here not, and that's why I was. But I tell referee I'm sorry, you know. Like once referees tell me that's my job, and I said I'm sorry. And
Michael Chandler speaks with reporters following the UFC 306 event. On the post-fight press conference, Mike took the opportunity to take part in the event in some form and sat down to give comments to media members, who of course were pleased to have the opportunity to ask him about the McGregor fight that fell through. Chandler wasn't too happy about commenting on his dream fight getting cancelled, more precisely, him having to move on from the fight due to the timeline becoming too unfeasible. Mike revealed that he's known about this situation for 4 weeks, but chose not to share it with the public, as he was instructed by the UFC. Chandler will fight on UFC 309 in a rematch against Charles Oliveira, most likely serving as the co-main event for Jones vs. Stipe. According to multiple reports, this will be a 5-round fight.
Well, I'm still going to be thinking about Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor, as I asserted at the very beginning, Conor McGregor is still not off the hook. Conor McGregor's road back to the UFC still goes through Nashville, Tennessee, and Michael Chandler. We must finish TUF 31. It has to happen. We're at the same weight class. It was too long of a build-up for it not to happen, but you know, as I kind of laid out in my YouTube video that I already filmed an instant reaction. I've known this for 4 weeks, but I'm a consummate professional, so nothing is ever going to leak. My lips are sealed. No matter how much media reaches out to me, no matter how much people want to reach out to me, I do things by the book. But the first 25 months that I was signed with the organization, fight of the night after fight of the night, fighting everybody, fighting for the title, that's what I do. I'm an active guy. I'm constantly in shape. I'm constantly training. So it was time for me. It was time for me to make a pivot, only because of the timeline. And you guys can ask Dana how long the timeline was going to be until Conor actually comes back, but it was too long for me. I'm not waiting around. We had a fight booked January 29th. He pulls out of the fight. Immediately we start looking at other options. I almost was going to fight tonight here. It was offered to Max. Here we are. Now I'm fighting Charles.
Dana White wasn't too happy with the result of the main event. Dana's preference for champions with a more entertaining style for the masses, coupled with overall marketability of them, isn't a secret. Fans have been making fun of the UFC boss's demeanor and facial expressions following events in which a popular fighter lost, especially if it is the champion, for a long time. Dana can be seen monotone, eager to finish the presser and get out, not being enthusiastic with the answers to reporters' questions. Well, this time, the Sphere Show, which was marketed to be the greatest sports show ever, stole the attention and became the main attraction of the event. The vast majority of questions on the post-fight press conference to Dana was aimed at production details and commentary of the Sphere Show. Dana seemed content with speaking about how amazing he thought the production was, and engaged in questions on if something similar can potentially happen again. When it came to O'Malley versus Merab fight and the performances by the two fighters, Dana kept his answers short. This was especially true in regards to Merab, who it seemed Dana didn't want to acknowledge at all. He did talk about O'Malley's performance, how flat and bad he thought it was, but nothing about Merab's input in it. In the brief moment of him talking about the actual contest, Dana did mention O'Malley hurting Merab to the body in the final round and trying to finish him, but nothing about Merab's dominant performance. The most interesting comment of his in regards to the main event came when he expressed his hope that people that were tuning into the event throughout the night turned it off before the co-main event.
He looked flat, he didn't look sharp, he didn't look crisp and until the last round. He hurt him with that body shot, he knew he hurt him with the body shot, and he kept going in and trying to finish, but yeah, I don't agree. I mean, I looked at the punch stats, there's like 6 in a couple of the rounds, so that he just, I don't know if he just got in there tonight and felt flat. You know, some nights it's just is what it is. Some people probably tuned in for the first time, and hopefully they turned off before the co-main event, and they're big fans now.
Conor McGregor comments on Michael Chandler moving on from a fight with him and choosing to fight Charles Oliveira instead. As Dana recently revealed that Chandler is no longer fighting Conor, questions around McGregor's return opponent, and timeline began making waves all over the MMA space again. This recent development reassured some fans in their belief that the Irishman in fact is never coming back, but some are still hopeful. Well, one thing is for certain now, Michael Chandler has finally had enough waiting for Conor to commit to a date and gave up on his dream to fight him, at least temporarily. What exactly caused him to move on is unclear, but most likely has to do with not having a timeline in sight and having to prolong his inactivity from the sport even more. As far as Conor, well, he still claims that he's actively working toward a comeback, but that he is, as he put it, out of the loop with the UFC.
You know, I got tested this evening. I got tested today by the Drug-Free Sport Agency. I'm the most tested athlete on the roster by more than twice the amount. I believe I'm tested maybe 13 times, the amount of seconds it took me to finish Jose Aldo, 13 times. And, you know, actually, funny enough, Jose Aldo was number 2 in the testing. I think he's been tested 6 times. So I've been tested more than twice all these other athletes, yet I struggle to get a date. So, you know, I've talked to Sheikh Turkey and said, Sheikh Turkey, can you assist me here? You know, as far as Chandler rematching Oliveira, I'm happy with the date. It's November. Maybe we can still do it after, if they're not going to line me out till maybe December, January, February, or one of these dates. You know, maybe we can still do it. I'm just a bit, you know, out of the loop with it, you know, so